Hi everyone, I'm really chuffed to be here with Michiel van Eunen, who is going to be doing a great talk at Gamification Europe 2020. You may recognize him. He has talked at a previous Gamification Europe conference or two and been chair of one of the days of last year's conference. He's almost as immersed in gamification as me. Hey Michiel, tell us a bit about you and, some of your gamification track record. What excites you about gamification?
Oh, let's not go into the lengthy and boring stuff. Just check the LinkedIn if you want to know more, and if you know me, just don't bother. Um, I'm claiming to be in gamification since 2003. Yeah, and I'm going to validate that in my talk during Gamification Europe, because back then I did something that, in hindsight, you would call gamification.
But it was before we'd coined the term.
Yes, so but in hindsight, you could say, "Oh, that was gamification," and I do. And when I look back, it's still one of my favorite, if not my favorite, example. If I have to explain gamification and the immense power of gamification to noobs, to people who are not familiar, then they immediately get the picture and the power of it.
Yeah, so I mean, when I read the story about this project, I got super excited about having you come and talk about it, because we've got a gamification example that's been running every year since 2003, impacting over 50,000 people. Can you give us a little insight into your talk? What else can people learn from you?
Well, of course, you would have to be there just to watch it. But I think I'm a storyteller, so I really love to talk about that as a story. But what I designed actually came from frustration, because back in the days I was working as a trainer. I was very young and I was training retail sales staff, and there were just young people working in stores all over the country, and I really thought I was doing my very best in training, and I really thought my trainings were very good and very engaging. And it turned out that not only they were not as great as I thought, that there was really no reason to believe that it had any effect, my training. And one time I stepped up to my boss and actually told him, I'm not training those people anymore. I'm was on the verge of quitting, but I was verge of quitting that very client, which was a really big retail company. And because I had quite a playful attitude, and I had the opportunity, I proposed something that was a game, and it was actually a bit triggered by the very first TV formats back in the days that were sort of cross-medial, that used internet, because yeah, we had internet in the 90s and we were talking about the early zeros, but there was no mobile internet. We didn't have really good smartphones back in the days. So also these retail shops had one computer, big bulky computer, back of house. So it's interesting to look back that internet penetration and smartphone penetration wasn't as big as it is today. You couldn't easily reach everyone. It was a different world, and we're talking about 15, 16, 17 years ago.
You're
Um,
making us sound very old.
yeah, I think we are. Also, we're fortunate, Pete, that people like us, if we can say us, that we grew up in a world that was totally analog, and we experienced a life without games, without internet, without connection, through the coming of internet until now. We experience both, and I think that's good to know
Okay.
both contexts. I think that's part of why I really have a fondness still for analog games and board games and analog design. A lot of people,
Well,
when they talk about, sorry, before they would talk about gamification and games, they always slip into, oh, this is about digital. And gamification doesn't have to be digital.
I agree. And I have stupendously fond memories of the escape room game you ran for us at the first Gamification Europe in
Uh,
2017.
yeah, me too. That was great. That was a great memory. And Well, people that weren't there couldn't say, what are you talking about? I think there are still some videos out there just to give you a glimpse of what we did back there. I've developed quite some escape rooms since then. I think I counted it, and in the last 5 years, I built over 25 escape rooms and escape room formats like that. I really love that, to be very hands-on, practical, be in one room for 1 hour, touching stuff and learning from it. Really love it.
That's great. So apart from that, which was obviously a great experience, what would you say your highlights from past gamification conferences have been?
I really like these hands-on approaches, and I love to be inspired by new stuff. And it's the same as I'm looking forward to this year's conference. Um, Not knowing what we're going to get. Are we going to get more of the same, what we already know, or are there new insights? And I really love that, and also to hear from people that don't get to speak on a platform that often, but still have a great story. Like on Monday during this year's Gamification Europe, we have David Chandros. I've been following this great guy for years now, because it's amazing what he does with games, also with tabletop games, and merging the virtual with the tactile and the hands-on for learning. Really love that.
That's cool. I've been trying to get him to come and speak at Gamification Europe for years. So it's this digital format has given us the opportunity to bring people from a bit further away who wouldn't necessarily be able to make it normally.
Yeah,
It just is
awesome.
great.
Awesome, and also new formats like Ezra van Beden. I saw a talk merging, meditation, and I really love to be inspired by insight like that. I was also inspired by the talk by Toby that I saw on this series with you. Um, really triggered me, and how we present data to people, and how big of an impact it is, and how people continue to deliver information from the not from the perspective of the user, of the player. I'm still be amazed by that. So I think the world can learn a lot if we all would be and act more like game designers.
Fantastic. It looks like to me you're going to have to attend every day of the conference and pick up all the good stuff.
I will, day and night.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Michiel. It's been
Looking
really
forward
great getting an
to,
insight into it, and looking forward to
yes,
seeing you.
just a few weeks, few days left.
A few days left. So we'll see you there soon. Thanks.